Hello everyone, welcome to another video about another board game. This time I will say some things about Gandhi, the decolonization of British India 1917-1947, of course in the Colin series by GMT Games. It was the ninth, yes, it's the ninth volume in Colin series, and I think it's the first one that introduced a bot based on cards and a bot with a name. I think the bot is named Arjuna. I'm probably killing it, but well, it was. I think I don't take it for granted, but I think it was the first one. Well, I've played the game over the weekend. I played it solo, and as in every coin game, you can play the game solo by controlling one of the factions, and the bots take over the rest of them. I don't think that's overly important, but I have played as the British Raj, and the bots controlled the other factions, being the National Congress, the International Congress, the Muslim League, and of course the revolutionaries. It was a pretty tough game, I would say. The bots gave me a run for my money, and I finally lost. It was tied. It was a tie, but ties go to ties between me and the National Congress, and the ties go, of course, to the National Congress. So they won, and well, I'm not. I'm quite happy because and the other factions were not far behind too, just with a -2, I think. Yeah, -2 margin, each of them. So it was a rather close thing. So the game. Okay, I think that's enough about how I fared in the game. But the game is about, of course, the efforts of Indians to gain their independence from the British Empire. And as you know, there were some factions in British India and the subcontinent. There were the Muslim factions that ultimately led to the creation of what we know as modern day Pakistan. There were, of course, the Indian, the National Congress, the Indian that wanted an independent, unified India, and there were, of course, the revolutionaries. The difference between revolutionaries and the other factions is that the other factions were behind Gandhi. Gandhi was their spiritual leader, their inspiration, and the main characteristic of this independence, we can't say war, of this independence effort, actually, was the non-violence pioneered by Mahatma Gandhi and his followers. I don't want to go deep into history here. I think those of you who know what it's about, you already know enough. The rest, I mean, you can look it up in any history book, I suppose, and get to know what happened. Game-wise, this creates some interesting game decisions, and of course the design is very interesting because you don't have a conflict per se. You have some factions that will just kind of passively try to gain the support of the people, or rather try to build opposition to the regime, to the British Raj, but they will do it. They will do so in a passive way, using protests and strikes and stuff like that. Not really conflict, not really bullets flying and stuff like that. The revolutionaries will do that. But the interesting thing about the revolutionaries is that everyone is an enemy to them. I mean, maybe the non-violent factions, as National Congress and Muslim League are called in the game, which don't use violence and armed, at least, conflict, are as much an enemy to them as the Rads, and sometimes they're more enemy than the Rads. But that's well, it's more how the players, each player will decide to do it. There are a lot of things happening in the game actually, and there are a lot of things to keep in check and in balance. It's not easy. I have found out that it's not easy for any faction to gain a lead, and it will go. It can go. I mean, a faction will have its turn. It can go really well, gain as much position or control or support or whatever, and right in the next card, or even in the same card, the next faction will completely undo what the previous faction has achieved. It's kind of swinging. Sometimes it's swinging from plus 4 or 5 to minus 4 or 5, stuff like that, and that's really interesting. It keeps the game fluid, and no one is absolutely certain that it is going to build up on its gains, or that it has secured a win or stuff like that. And I really loved this game. The events, the actions, the general flow of the game, and the art, very nice art in this game. They all contribute to create a feeling, the feeling of this era. And yeah, I mean, all coin games, the basic mechanics, of course, are still there. The core mechanics of the concepts of the coin games are still there. You vie for control or not control, support, position, everything is there. Cities, railways, provinces, stuff like that are always there. But they were coupled with some more interesting mechanics. There is a mechanic that shows there's restraint and unity mechanic that can lead to crisis in the India subcontinent. And yeah, unity represents how the Muslims and the Indians, National Congress and the Muslim League, were working together or against each other, how unified they were. And the restraint is about the British, how the British Rads react, and how, of course, restraint it shows. And it reminded me a bit of the Pendragon, the Imperium stuff. I mean, there were some side mechanics like that. And of course, what I always say about the coin games, every game in the series, at least those I have played and I know some stuff about, are the mechanics and the concepts, and how, more importantly, how the mechanics work, are closely tied to the theme of the game. So if you're not into the theme, I mean, if you don't have an interest, if you don't like at all this period in Indian history, the period of the independence efforts, then Gandhi, you're not going to like Gandhi. I mean, this is true for any coin game, even the most popular ones, because these games are very well researched. They're tied to the history. They try to they present the players with the same dilemmas and the same, more or less the same capabilities that the actual factions at the time had. So if you're not into this time period, then you're not going to like the game. I mean, you can't play, for example, you can't play as the National Congress as Gandhi and say, no, I wouldn't do it that Gandhi's way. I would go and do it the other way. And you can't do that, of course, in such a game. So you don't have, if into this into heavily thematic history child game, then yeah, I mean, no coin game is going to be or in other words, no, you have to find the right coin games for you. But I think that's enough about this stuff. Personally, I liked it very much. I liked the way the factions interact. I liked the uncertainty. As the Rads, I had to try to keep everything in check, trying to undo what others had done, trying to build up. I was constantly on the move, on the lookout, what will happen next. Tried to manipulate as much as I could events and stuff, and that was great. And I think the other factions also will be as much fun to play as this was. Solo wise, the bots rather are very well designed, and the rules and how you decide what to do and where to do it. I mean, the rules are clear, are very clear. Of course, I'm kind of a veteran in solo coin games, but I found this bot had quite clear instructions, and I think even beginners will not have many problems, or any problems at all, at following the bot's instructions. 90% of the times, some events need a little bit of clarification, or you have to be very careful what to do. But all in all, it was very clear and very straightforward. I played the short scenario. Didn't have. I wanted to get to know the game before attempting the main scenario, and yeah, I was able to play it in a day. So yeah, I know I took longer breaks also, and I wasn't playing the whole day, of course, but I was just to go. And one of the things that I liked, that it was okay. I was playing a card and say, okay, let's play another, and then I'll have a break. Let's play another, then have a break. So that keeps you busy and happy. So I'm totally happy about it. So I think that's all. That was maybe longer than I thought. Okay, so for me, it's totally worth getting and playing it. As I've said, of course, you've got to have an interest in the subject, and or maybe you're curious to learn more about it. So yeah, I would totally recommend it. Plays great. It's very interesting. Some fresh mechanics. So yeah, I really liked it, and I hope I will be playing it more with opponents too. So that's all. That was Gandhi from GMT Games, Volume 9 in the Coin series. So that's all for now. See you in the next episode.